What's up, Internet Land, and welcome to another amazing episode of the Petty Cash Podcast, where, as you know, this magnificent podcast represents the last of the Petty Cash. I am your host for this episode, Charles, and I am joined by my friends and co-hosts, Vinny, Danny, and Joe. Alright, so for this particular episode, it's going to be a little bit different because this first topic we're going to talk about, only Danny and myself have any familiarity with it. But then our other topic will be all of us. So for this particular episode, we're going to be covering Miss Marvel and television shows of our childhood. Now, for Miss Marvel, Danny and I were the only ones that decided to watch this. Yeah.
2 episodes in, I lost.
Yeah. So Vinny was like 2 episodes in, he's done. Joe is just like, nope, ain't watching this. So it's just going to be the two of us talking about it. Why don't you go ahead, Danny?
So I remember when they announced this show back in San Diego Comic-Con 2019, I believe was when. It wasn't even San Diego. They announced it. It was like some random expo or event in early 2020. They officially announced the Miss Marvel show, and I think it was during later 2020, if not early 2021. We finally got some of the casting announcements, and we see Iman Vellani has been cast as Kamala Khan. Okay, cool. Let's see what this actress brings to it. Man, did she bring it. And what's even more cool about it is that this is her first acting gig. So, Iman Vellani, you absolutely nailed the role of Kamala Khan. You were my favorite part of the entire series.
Congratulations.
I would say overall, minus Iman Vellani's performance, Miss Marvel was a very enjoyable, really good show in the Phase 4 particular Disney Plus shows. I would say it's probably in my top 3, my top 3 favorites, if not the top 5. But it was seriously a quite enjoyable show. The entire cast did a fantastic job. It weirdly showed I don't know much about Indian and Pakistani culture, probably as much as the next person. But watching the show, I was like, oh, this is a nice in-depth look at someone of that culture's lives, seeing the politics of the mosque in New Jersey, and learning more about the infiltration. I forget what that was called.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, Charles, you watched it, man. Come on.
No, I was looking up something else, and so, yeah.
It was that event where the Muslims were leaving India to go into Pakistan, I believe.
Oh, that particular part. I forget the exact wording, what they used for it.
Partition? I think it was partition.
Partition, yeah.
Yeah, that was basically a little mini history lesson in the show, and I really appreciate that. That was really cool. But yeah, overall, I can say I thoroughly enjoyed Miss Marvel as a whole. I'll be curious to see if we get a second season out of this, because I could see a second season come from this show. But to be fair, I feel like we could see this story continue in The Marvels coming out next summer.
Yeah. So for me, coming into this, I wasn't quite sure what to expect because the character of Miss Marvel, I don't have a whole lot of familiarity with.
Same.
I think I was more familiar with her in terms of there was that video game that came out,
Marvel's Avengers.
Marvel's Avengers, yeah. And so I didn't know what to expect, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot and see what it is, And it started off similar to how at least some of these Disney Plus Marvel shows do, in that the first episode or the first 2 episodes are almost like a tonal shift from what the rest of it's going to be like. Because I ran into this with WandaVision, and it was also part of the reason why I almost didn't watch WandaVision until they had that little little stinger at the end of episode 2, and it was okay, wait, things are going to get different. But because with that, it was like, oh, it's an annoying sitcom, from like the cheesy sitcoms from like the what was it, the 60s and 70s and all that. And like I was like almost like Vinny. I partway through episode 2, I nearly was like, nope, I can't tolerate this anymore. But the same thing happened with Miss Marvel, in that it not that it was annoying to me, but it was that the tone was different. It started off like it was Scott Pilgrim inspired art style, which that was cool. That was cool, but that it felt more like it was a teen like drama, sort of thing, like a coming of age life story of a teen girl going through high school. And those first 2 episodes, you're kind of like, okay, and then it seems to shift, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, now it feels like we've air quotes grown up, and now it's starting to get more serious now, where they're bringing up the the partition, the history behind India, and then also these other characters that they're bringing in, and these other government groups, if you will, that are in there.
Damage control.
Damage control, yeah. And it takes like a tonal shift and feels like it grows up. And I will agree with you on Iman Vellani. She did an excellent job. I see, a bright future for her.
Oh, yeah.
She did a great job on this. And I think in all, most of the cast did a great job.
Yes.
And but I do kind of wish that they would stop doing that, because I feel, in terms of the whole tonal shift, because I feel like it does put off people because they're not sure what they're expecting.
Fair.
You have to power through those first couple episodes and then it gets good. You know what I'm saying? And I feel that that's something that they need to get out of, because I nearly fell into that with WandaVision, and I could see this happening with other people as well. Vinny and Point, and it's just, I feel it wasn't perfect. There were some things that I think they could have done better, but as a whole, I think it was a better series than what we've seen in some of the other ones. Like it maintained a level of good,
yes,
versus like what happened with WandaVision. It dropped off a cliff, with a like kind of basically a slap in the face for some of the stuff towards the end. This one maintained a level of good throughout.
Oh, yeah.
Once you got past those first 2 episodes,
there wasn't one central opposing force. There were multiple antagonists. For example, when you start off the show, the end stinger for the first episode is, damage control. We gotta find this girl, bring her in. Okay, damage control is going to be the main force of the show. End of the second episode. The new guy, his mom wants to meet her. The clandestines. Okay, no, they're going to be the main force of the show. Okay, cool. Okay, they're gone now. Okay, damage control again. Wait, Kamran's kind of bad now. Okay, I think damage control is still the main bad guy. There should have been a focused bad guy. Either damage control as a whole should have been the main antagonist, or the clandestine should have been the main antagonist that went on through the end of the series. I will give off that criticism, but the acting, the visuals, there was so much good stuff in this. I know a lot of people were complaining like, her powers aren't the same. That, I think for me, because I never I think I knew who Miss Marvel was, but I was like, Miss Marvel, I can't believe she's getting a show. I can't wait to see how they do the embiggening. Okay, the new hero. Let's see what they do. And then we get the cosmic embiggening. I thought that was like a nice change, but still keeping the same of what her base powers is, but then giving her basically these like the cosmic bursts and like shields and like blasts and whatnot. I think that's cool, and it's an easy way to tie her into Captain Marvel and either Photon or Spectrum, whichever name Monica Rambeau takes up for when she appears in the Marvels again. But I enjoyed the whole aspect of the show, the storytelling for the most part, the acting, the visuals, and just the chemistry between all the characters was fantastic.
I absolutely agree when it comes to the villain. It did feel kind of I guess what would be a word, scattershot for that, because it was like, what is it? Is it the other, Jins that are, the villain? Is it damage control? Who is our central villain? And that was a stumbling point that I think that they should have known better. Mm-hmm. They should have known that you can't just bounce willy-nilly and just, okay, we're done for now. Let's put them on the shelf and now let's focus on somebody else. No, you kind of need an overarching thing, or somehow bring the two together. Perhaps somehow the damage control was working with the Jins. Something like that.
That main lady who was hunting down Kamala. That would have been a great twist if she was one of the Jin. She was the most radical of the bunch, but they decided to part with her because yes, they still wanted to go home. Yes, they wanted to do this, but because of the way she wanted to do things, they didn't want to deal with her. That would have been a great way to combine the two damage control people. And the leader of the clandestine Najima was Nimra Bucha, which you did a fantastic job portraying Najima. You were creepy at points. You were really creepy at points.
Yes.
But yeah, with that whole damage control lady, why was she so hell bent on capturing Kamala? I mean, yes, it's their job to make sure powered beings and characters in the MCU are kept under control, and that character's name, Sadie Deaver, was played by Alicia Reiner. You were creepy, and I blame the storytelling and the script for how your character was brought to life. But yeah, I wanted to know why that character was so hell-bent on getting Kamala. That probably should have been the main focus, and maybe for the next season you bring the clandestines as the main villains or something like that. But you used both of them, and it was disjointed at points. But that still did not detract from my enjoyment of the show overall.
Yes, I do blame it on a bit of the storytelling, because otherwise these two, the two villains, I guess, if you will, main villains, if you will, they, the actresses that played them, they did an excellent job. You felt it, and I feel it was let down by storytelling. Mm-hmm. And then to talk about the powers and stuff, I honestly thought the powers were fine. I actually liked the spin on it, because it felt similar enough to her embiggening ability, mm-hmm. but it felt different so that it was more, she could kind of be her own character instead of she's basically the female Indian version of Mr. Fantastic. It changes up her abilities, giving her the being able to create those platforms and shields and things like that. I thought that was really an interesting way of doing it, and also that is tied with her bangle that she wears. Yeah, which also in the fact that deploys out almost into kind of a battle form. That was kind of cool. So, do we want to talk about the big twist?
Okay, so for those that haven't watched it yet, we are about to delve into some small spoilers for basically the end of Miss Marvel. So here's your official spoiler warning for the ending of episode 6 of Miss Marvel. So the episode ends, and they were able to save Kamran and ship him off to back where the Red Daggers are in Pakistan. Mm-hmm. And it says 1 week later, and so our trio of friends of Kamala and Bruno, and what was her friend's name again? She was running for the mosque.
Man, there were so many characters. That was the thing. Which one was she?
Nakia.
Nakia.
So it's Nakia, Bruno, and Kamala. Because Kamran had to flee, he left his car in Jersey City. So Bruno drives up. They all start talking, and then all of a sudden, Bruno's like, "Oh wait, Kamala, I did some more. I looked at your test results again, because they were trying to figure out what she is." And basically, he says something about Kamala, there's something different in your genes, and he's like, it's like a mutation. All of a sudden, like the second he says mutation, you hear you hear the sting of the X-Men 90s cartoon. So they're basically telling us, hey, here's your first mutant in the MCU. Huh? What? Okay, cool. She's the first mutant. And I love the way that they told us that. That's so cool. Mm-hmm. And so learning more, like since the show has ended, apparently the creator of Miss Marvel was working on the show either as a consultant or as some other factor in the show. And apparently the creator's gone on saying, yes, she wasn't Inhuman in the comics, but originally we did want her to be a mutant. So in a way, that's kind of like paying respect to the original idea that Kamala was going to be a mutant, but then she just ended up being an Inhuman instead. I am totally fine with that, because like, okay,
No. Hopefully we get to Namor is the first mutant in the MCU.
Yeah.
Please take that title away. Oh, keep going, Danny. Don't forget about us. We're here. We just had to pop that in there. All right, go ahead.
But she is the first official, like, as because Black Panther has not come out yet, we officially have the first mutant in the MCU, Kamala Khan. I personally love that. I guess it's technically a change, yes. But I like that. I think that's really cool. I'll be curious to see where it goes from here and how this could even maybe tie into the X-Men coming into the MCU. Like, maybe she will potentially go to Xavier's school. Maybe she'll run into some other X-Men in the future of the MCU. Who knows? But I'll be very curious to see how this all ties into future projects later on in the MCU proper.
Yeah, when I was like, kind of leaning on the side of my sofa, I just kind of like, crashed on there, like watching the episode. And when that sting happened, I sat up. I was like, are you kidding me? So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that. Just having her being, I guess, a X-Men or hinting at that at least. Mm-hmm. But I would definitely love to see more of what they do with this, because the fact that she apparently has teleported away and swapped places with
yes.
Captain Marvel at the end. That was a interesting thing that happened. I was like, what the heck just happened? And then also, I thought they did her costume exceptionally well.
Yes.
It looked more like, battle armor, but also still had that air of somebody made it for her. Mm-hmm. So I liked that combination of it, and that it also seems to pay homage to her ancestral, roots and stuff.
Yeah.
The way the styling is. I liked how they did that. There was one thing though that did get me, was when they were talking about her name and how it means like Marvel. And I'm like, I looked it up and I'm like, no, it means Lotus, not Marvel. And even if you're referring to the god, I neglected to pull it up to get the proper pronunciation. I think it was like Lakshi, or there's a god that it's associated with, and even that was like the god of beauty and like wealth and stuff like that. Not really Marvel, so technically that whole explanation wasn't really correct, but whatever. But otherwise, I think overall, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the character and how they tie it in. I mean, it would be awesome to see. So you pulled up the Kamala, and it's perfection, superiority, distinction, things like that. Well, I think, yeah. And then it's a Muslim girl's name. Yeah, see, born of a lotus. See what I mean? And then there was also, I think if you look further into that, it mentions that there was an association with an Indian god, that they had. But anyway, but besides that, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more what they do with it. I know that there were some complaints, like reviews, and they were saying like, okay, this had boring villains. I think what it was is that they didn't focus the villains. Mm-hmm. Like you said, we had the damage control, and we had the Jins, and there wasn't a cohesive villain, and I feel that's where I think that's where a lot of the reviews come across. But otherwise, the quality of how they filmed it, presented it, the effects, I think all that was very well done.
Yeah.
The costuming was great. The actors, actresses, and all that did an excellent job. I just feel that it was let down by some writing, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they do with her.
Yeah, and I remember, I think it was later last year, if not earlier this year, the show did go through like a small batch of reshoots. So I think like maybe some of the villain criticisms could stem from that. And like thinking back on that first trailer we saw, there's one shot in the trailer where that ginger chick who was like that TikTok influencer.
Oh,
I think her name's Emily. Correct me on that one.
Let me see if I can pull it up.
Emily Zoe. Okay.
Zoe. Okay.
Zoe, yeah. So there's one shot in the trailer like, oh, Kamala, another Avengers shirt. Nice. That's not even in the show.
No.
So I figured that probably stemmed from the original like shooting from Miss Marvel. And then I guess reshoots went in and cleaned up some stuff or fixed other things. But I don't know. It's a small thing I remember, but I'll be curious if we get a season 2. But I very much feel like the next part of this story will just be continued in the Marvels, with Carol showing up in her room like, oh no. So like, okay, well we gotta go find Kamala wherever the hell she is.
Exactly. Alrighty, I think that pretty much wraps up this particular segment. So now, if we can just wake up our other two co-hosts, and all right, and we are going to. Yes, it was. we patented it. We packaged it. And we're selling it. All right. So now let's move on to our other topic, which was television shows of our childhood. And so, since you guys have patiently, air quotes, have been waiting for us to finish,
go on.
I will let you guys lead off. Go ahead.
All right, fine. We'll take over.
Oh, hey there, we're back. All
right. All right, here we go dude, there's a whole list of them, man. How much time do we have? Okay.
30 minutes.
I was going to say, do we cartoons or live action?
I guess we could talk about whatever pops to our head at this point.
Yeah, let's go with that.
You know what? Yeah, let's go with the flow. We were talking about horror kids shows and everything. So, Vinny, we could say Are You Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps?
Goosebumps for sure.
You ever heard of Erie, Indiana on Fox Kids?
No, I don't remember that one.
Really, you don't remember that one? It had Max from Hocus Pocus in it. One of my favorite episodes was basically a kid who had he had access to this ATM and it kept giving him money and over and over and over again. Yeah, Charles, you remember that episode?
Yes.
Yeah, but then it was like corrupting him and all that, and
I did not remember that.
No, dude, it's definitely a good show. I mean, this was basically Max from Hocus Pocus, the actor. Before then, it's definitely a show worth checking out. But yeah, we talked about Goosebumps, the shows and books. But I don't know. There was a bunch of shows I remembered. Does anyone remember Eureka's Castle?
No.
Eureka's Castle. Yeah, it was on Nickelodeon. That played. It had this cartoon puppet dragon, and it had this little four eyes bat and everything. I forgot what his name is.
This actually just brought up a memory that popped in my head just now. Monster Hunters. It was a show on Fox Kids. It was clay animated, and all these kids would be hunting monsters in their neighborhood. And one episode I remember distinctly was a possessed car that would roadkill. And it was such a eerie episode, too, because I remember this clear as day. And all the roadkills came to life and merged and killed the haunted car. Like, it was a really good episode, but man, I need to look that up now. I need to remember what the hell that show was called.
Dude, I remember. Yeah, I was just looking it up.
Go on.
I was just looking this up, and I remember seeing like toys of this thing. Like I remember Pizza Hut, I think, had the dragon from Eureka's Castle. Dude, like wow. Oh my gosh. Like, it's just like the memories are flooding back.
The memories!
But, oh man, oh my gosh, yeah, I remember that now because I looked it up and, oh geez. But anyway, yeah, continue.
No, I even have to, hold on.
Ready?
Yeah, we're gonna play the little theme song here just because.
Well, I know.
Oh, I've never seen that before.
Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
No. I remember when that played, I knew what was going to appear after that, and I was such a sucker of the Muppet Babies, just because all the cutaways that would happen with all like the little famous movies with like Indiana Jones, Star Wars, any 80s movies, the stuff they could actually get away back then. Of course they can't, just now with, movie studios now being stingy with their properties and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they would have like an episode with like Gonzo and all that, and he's flying the Millennium Falcon, their version, but he has like an 8-ball as a stick. I don't know. I have no like list of like shows that I remembered as a kid. Oh wait, hold on. Like, there's no list or anything top 10. It was just all those good times that kind of just, made you sit your ass down and you were just like intrigued by it. Do you remember? There was this kid, and he kind of had a Mike Wazowski kind of monster, but it was called Monster Rancher. Oh, yeah. And he how it would start, he had like a PS1 disc or something, and then he would put it in, and he was trying to follow along the lines of Pokemon, and we're not trying to go with like mainstream like cartoon shows or like TV shows or anything. This was like those that just it played. But you liked it though. Like, it was, you wish it could have captivated like audiences more, but we're so like entrenched with like franchises and all that, like Star Wars, Marvel, any superhero property or anything. But here's a show that doesn't get brought up too much, even though we're talking about like mainstream. But the Super Friends.
Oh yeah, that old school show, man. That was.
There's Super Friends, anything on Cartoon Network / Boomerang with Johnny Bravo, Toonami. Yeah, we all know Dragon Ball Z, the
Fox Kids.
Eek the
It's
cat.
time for
Maniacs.
Animaniacs.
Yeah. The Max.
God, I love that show.
Hello,
Oh, nurse. Fingerprints. Oh, yeah.
It wasn't until I was older that I got that joke.
Oh, man. No, one of my the best show, I think, on WB Kids was Freakazoid.
Oh, Freakazoid!
My favorite, like, there was one part, and I was like, this is, like, everybody, here, but there was one part with Freakazoid, and he's like giving this like kind of superhero monologue and all that, and he kind of like ends it with like, "There's nothing in the force that could stop me." And of course, here's the general. He's like, "Hey, Freakazoid, want to get a snow cone?" He's like, "All right."
Funny with the general.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments was Freakazoid, Brain from Thinking in the Brain, and Wacko. They were all arguing who was Steven Spielberg's favorite out of the top shows, and they all come to his office going, "Which one of us is your favorites?" And it's Steven Spielberg as an animated character going, "Who are you guys?"
There was one funny bit. Does anyone remember Tiny Toon Adventures?
Yes!
Yeah. So there was one hilarious part in trying to go through all those episodes, streaming, DVD, whatever. There's one bit that, like, oh shit, like, it just cracked the living shit out of me. But it was basically when they're talking about like something about Dances with Wolves, right? And basically the thing is they took it too literally. The animators, I don't know what they were on, but they showed Kevin Costner hopping with a fucking wolf. And he's dancing around a campfire. If you see Dances with Wolves, then now Tiny Toons was like, maybe we're being a little too literal with your movie titles. I don't know. If anyone out there, please find it, because I've been desperately trying to find it. Either it's on Tiny Toons or Animaniacs. Yes, if you guys are looking on your phones, go ahead. But it's just a little bit.
I remember on Animaniacs. Oh my God, who played Captain Kirk again in Star Trek? I'm like
William Shatner.
William Shatner. There was the episode of William Shatner doing karaoke. They were slapsticking on that because I guess like William Shatner did like a song back in the day, like he was singing a music, and they slapsticked that on an episode. I laughed so much. He's like, flag sheep. Have you any more? Just
okay. Was it like an impressionist? just kind of.
Yeah. It was like an
okay,
impressionist doing it, but it was William Shatner in the episode of Animaniacs doing karaoke. It was just so funny because the characters were just like, "Get on with it, you suck."
Okay, there was someone on YouTube. Thank God for this person. But Animaniacs, they would always have like these little short bits in between their shows.
Oh yeah.
It was one of my favorites. I don't know if you guys remember. It had like kind of the skeleton-like character in this suit, but it was basically good idea, good idea and bad idea. Like what?
Another good idea, bad idea.
Like good idea, tossing a coin penny into the wishing well, making a wish, and he's like, it shows like a little bit, and it throws the penny in the wishing well. Bad idea, throwing your cousin Penny into the wishing well. And then there was one with like, good idea, hoping a surprise, birthday for your father. Surprise! Bad idea, throwing a surprise birthday for your grandfather. Surprise!
Oh, man.
Dude, there was so much funny shit back then as a kid. Like like those. I mean, talking about it now, that it's successful. It just stood the test of time, and they become not cult classics, but I know there's some revival back on Hulu.
Digimon
Oh
was
no,
a big
for
one.
Animaniacs there was a
Oh, for
revival.
Animaniacs.
Yeah, there was, but
Yeah, they did. I think they've done 2 seasons, I believe, where they brought it back.
Oh yeah, they did. They made a brand new season with the original voice cast, and then of course they're doing a season 2, I believe. Not sure. I mean, like they're really trying to hammer in on the slapstick.
And I know you said something along the lines of Digimon, and I know, dude, I had a hard-on for Pokemon at the time. That theme song, and then change
Champions.
That was so goddamn cringy and cheesy. I was like, let me lower the volume on the TV. Yeah. Oh.
I had the toys though. I really did love Digimon. It was something different and unique compared to Pokemon. You could tell the difference between them, and I loved that show.
You want to talk about cringy like theme songs? Like Beetleborgs was also pretty bad too.
Oh my god!
Big Bad Beetleborgs. Metallics.
Dude,
No. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say there's one show I remember that just popped into my head because I actually had a toy of this. NASCAR Racers. They made like an action stunt TV show. It was hand-drawn animation. It was really good, actually. But it was NASCAR Racers. And I remember each one of them was Carlos. I had his race car, and his race car would actually do this kick-ass stunt where it would kick up the entire body and just go into a side drive. It was a unique show, I will say the least.
But man, we just threw a whole melting pot of like TV shows for all the listeners out there. It's just like, what the heck is going on and all that.
That was our shows back then. We had so much unique shit.
No, we did, and there's some movies that I kind of wish were still like up on the big screen. Does anyone remember those movies, Hot Shots? I know I keep sending clips on our chats and everything where like a dude had a grenade launcher and he like fires it at like a terrorist and all that, and he's like a cartoon splat on the wall. And he just walks past like the terrorist, but the terrorist is still alive. He's just a splat on the wall. He's just like, that's a hell of a gun, Danny, I see you there getting quiet, man. Come on, dude. Is there something from your childhood? I know it probably wouldn't be much, but that you remember as a kid.
Yeah, I'm just like sitting over here, listening to you guys like list all these shows. I'm just like, I have nothing. I was born in '96. I'm a young millennial, like old like Generation Z. So I know some of the shows you guys were talking about, but I can't like recall watching. Like I know of Animaniacs. I know I watched Digimon as a kid, but I kind of know what Tiny Toons was. But like for me, growing up, all my cartoons came from like Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon. Back when Nickelodeon was putting out mostly good stuff. But for me, like growing up, one of my favorite PBS Kids. Growing up, like that was a lot. There was a lot of good stuff. Like,
oh my god!
Like one of my favorite shows, of which it recently ended, Arthur.
Yes.
I grew up with Arthur.
What a wonderful kind of day.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I read some of the books growing up, but like that show, like I wish we could get like we're starting to get more shows. Like we got the complete series of Rugrats now on DVD. We got like another personal favorite show. We got the complete series of Jimmy Neutron on DVD. Let's get Arthur. There's only like volumes of like Arthur on DVD, and like apparently some of like the only like collections and like season like DVD box sets that are out there are in the freaking UK. I'm like, come on, bring that stuff over to the States.
The one thing I will agree with you on is that the amazing part of Arthur is I loved watching that show because it did teach really good morals and values in life. And we were just talking about how they did kind of like a Goosebumps tie-in with their own version called Scarier Pants Off books.
Scarier Pants Off books.
And it was just like, that is so relatable. Like, I just loved how I could relate to these characters back then as a kid. And then as I grew up, they continue the show for the kids of this generation, and I'm glad that they ended the season because it's like, man, just to see Arthur at our age now, it's just a bizarre take. But yeah, it was a phenomenal show.
Now I know there's one channel. I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but I would say, does anyone remember Nick Jr.?
Yes. I remember Nick
So,
Jr.
Blue's Clues.
I would like to, pin it on my little brother, but sometimes I would be hooked onto those shows, so I would actually watch, Blue's Clues, and there was one that, but yeah. Dude, yeah, and then
We found a clue.
We found a clue. We are looking for Blue's Clues. Yeah, so I know I'm a sucker for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was Muppet Babies also played on there. Little Bear.
Little Bear. Yeah. The Berenstein Bears.
Yeah. No, but Berenstein.
Yeah.
No, but I mean with Little Bear, interesting. But do you remember the Busy World of Richard Scarry?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Okay.
As soon as you see the image of this, you'll know.
No.
You really don't remember?
No. I missed that one entirely.
No, like what's funny is, of course, Dad worked at airport and all. There was one where like the daughter, I forget whose name it is, but she's basically flying alone and all that. And there was like that was probably like my favorite episode because I'm like, hey, I could relate to that one. But yeah, I mean Nick Jr. I will say, face, yeah. Hi there, yeah, dude. Like hands together, kumbaya. But no, there was when you guys talked about PBS. I will say though, all the important icons that are really deeply missed. Thank God you guys are not in this world right now. But I mean, Mr. Rogers, Bob
yes.
Ross, yeah.
I didn't grow up.
I mean, he ain't dead, but I mean, yeah. Reading Rainbow,
yeah.
Geordie LaForge, LeVar Burton, yeah.
What I was gonna say, one of my favorite shows I grew up watching that featured George Carlin as the narrator was Shining Time Station.
Yep.
He would tell the stories of Thomas the Tank Engine, and this actually drove my passion into model railroading. I loved Thomas growing up. I still love it to this day. And hearing George Carlin tell those stories, that is pinpoint nostalgia of childhood right there. You cannot go
I do
wrong.
remember Thomas the Tank Engine, but out of those shows, that's about it.
Just his expressions, like.
Oh shit! I grabbed my pants like just.
And it sucks. I mean, like, that's why, for me, all these shows that just exist and all that, I mean, they just reside in the back, please. Hopefully in the years to come and all that, I don't have amnesia and all that. Hopefully, or like Alzheimer's and all that. So, yeah, everybody, for anyone oldies out there, yeah, eat your fish, take some omega-3. Prevent that crap. Anyway, but, yeah, like, it's just something like, I always hold true to this quote, like, never grow up.
Yeah.
Now, there's Danny. I know you and we were talking like this. This would entirely be rolling onto a different episode, but Star Trek though. So there's this nostalgia clip, and Danny, for this episode, I could talk while doing this. You need to add this clip because it's only like a minute long, but this actually hit home for me. This was taken in an episode called Relic of Star Trek Next Generation, and it shows Scotty.
Yes, I love this episode.
And he's basically like, hey, he goes to the holodeck and everything, and he's all like, hey, show me the Enterprise and all that. I don't want to see any, crap and everything. Show me like the original Enterprise.
Not A, not D, just plain old Enterprise.
And the doors open, and it's basically the old 1966 set and all that with the captain's chair and everything. Wow. The older I get and all that, the older we get, as nerds and geeks, all that, it does hold true to it a bit, And there's that quote that's from Stand By Me, friends come and go like busboys at a diner. That holds true. But when you see Scotty alone, and he has like this whiskey or something like that, and he's kind of looking around this empty, room and all that, and it does hit the heart as you grow older and all that. And he pours himself a glass, and he toast and all that. Here's to you, lads. Aww. So like, tears and all that, but no, don't worry. When I show you guys, like, we're gonna be posting pictures of sad faces and all that.
Just bring on the waterworks.
Yeah, we would love to get on a Star Trek episode, but no, we got more important. Yeah, we got more important things to talk about with childhood shows. But we'll say though, on TV, Star Trek, you need to be on there. Danny, what were you gonna say?
Thinking on more shows from like my time growing up, one of my favorite shows. I mainly watched this in school. Charles, I saw you searching this up, but like it made me think of it as well. Magic School Bus.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I love that show. And like it's such a good show that like Netflix did a reboot of it a couple years ago, and like I haven't watched, like, I think I only watched like 2 episodes worth of it. But I will say this. Lin-Manuel Miranda doing the theme song, it sounds identical to the original. Like, yes, that's how you do it.
And they re-released the original episodes on Netflix too.
Okay, cool, sweet. Maybe I'll take a little trip down nostalgia lane this weekend. But I also, like, another show I remember like watching growing up was Dragon Tales. Okay, at least Vinny, I feel like you're the only one who's gonna get some of the shows I bring up, like Dragon Tales. I remember that. It was such a good show. Dragon Tales. Oh man.
I wish I might to fly with dragons in the tail of night.
So good.
Another show ironically related to Thomas the Tank Engine. I know a lot of people aren't going to remember this, but those of you that do, I know you're going to remember this. Theodore the Tugboat. There was a spin-off show just like Thomas and Friends, but it was about a tugboat in the docks. Same style, same modeling, and it was a guilty pleasure for me to watch, a different take on it. But one show I do want to bring up that a lot of us can relate to. This was actually my intro to Ghostbusters. That is the extreme Ghostbusters. That was the first time I really got into Ghostbusters as a cartoon. I remember that theme song to my dying day. And I just loved Jim Cummings' take on that original cartoon and like just the intro itself. Like it was phenomenal.
Weirdly for me, like Extreme Ghostbusters was another like early thing for me. Now, I didn't watch the show, but I had like VHS, like DVD VHS copies of Godzilla the series.
Oh yeah.
And my dad got it from a friend of his, and so he like ripped these, like he recorded these off the TV. So I got like some of the commercials sometimes, and one of the commercials was Extreme Ghostbusters, either on VHS and DVD, or just like, oh, on Fox Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. or something like that. But I remember distinctly the theme song for that show. And I don't think I ever watched Extreme Ghostbusters. It's on my list. But like I remember like just that something strange in your neighborhood, like the extreme '90s like junk music attached to that version of the Ghostbusters theme. What's some other good shows like?
Okay, I got one. I think this is the most important staple in all of our lives. It's Transformers.
Oh yeah.
We grew up in the 90s with Beast Wars, but then we also grew up with the original Transformers and Transformers Energon, Armada, Cybertron. We got just a good slew of Transformers from generation to generation.
Didn't really grow up with Transformers.
How dare you, sir?
It's the G1 reruns and all that back in the 80s and early 90s that, that were the best. But Charles, I'm not sure if you probably remember this one. Do you remember RoboCop Alpha Commando?
Oh.
Where they basically turned RoboCop into, Inspector Gadget?
Yeah.
RoboCop. Memories.
That was a great show.
That was a good show, yeah. But also there was one, God, when they turned a bunch of rated R movies into cartoon shows, but definitely one that I had to pull up was Roughnecks Starship Troopers Chronicles. That was a badass show. Like, I didn't care shooting them bugs and all that. Like, like how violent it was. The violence got toned down. I think. Hey, what do you know? E.G. Daily was actually the voice of Dizzy Flores in this.
Oh, shit.
I danced with the cartoon version of Dizzy Flores. Yay! And then I love, Dina Miner in the movie. So she was Batgirl in Birds of Prey. Yeah. Sorry. Oh yeah, there was the shows. What was it? You got Smallville, the earlier seasons.
Didn't watch that.
That was such a good series.
Yeah, and then Christopher Reeve had his last, his
last appearance.
Yeah, along with the Superman franchise. So Mr. Professor Swan or whatever. So. That was good. I don't know. When I started to get out of syndicated cartoon shows, this is when what sucks is as soon as you graduate from high school and all that, now off to the real world with jobs and everything, sometimes you have time for cartoons or whatnot. I mean, Justice League. Yeah.
I want to watch. I caught snippets of that show growing up, but I want to watch because. Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, and then we had the Justice League of America, or Justice League Unlimited. Was that the show?
So
it's the same one.
So there's a bunch of spin-off series with, the Batman Animated Series. It segues into, or kind of runs in between with Superman the Animated Series. But there was like the Zeta Project, Batman Beyond. Yeah, you remember those. Static Shock. Yeah. Static Shock. Yeah.
Zeta was one of my favorites. God, I really want that to be like a live action movie. That would be so
They are working on a Static Shock project. I forget who.
I just remember they brought the comic book, so that was kind of neat.
In an ironic twist, the voice actor for the Flash in the Justice League series is the live actor for Lex Luthor in Smallville.
Yeah, the actor.
Oh yeah, Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah, him. No, he was probably one of the best voice actors for Wally West. But those shows, of course, go into regular Justice League and then into Justice League Unlimited. And oh man, if you follow everything since Batman, one of the best episodes in Justice League Unlimited is called Epilogue. One of the best Batman central integral episodes. If anyone that's seen, the one with like him carrying the little girl Ace. Yeah, you'll see. We can't really spoil it. Like, you have to watch.
I gotta watch it.
Yeah. No, it's really, really good.
It holds so much weight, and it makes you understand how great of a superhero Batman is. Like, good freaking God.
Yeah, there's Bruce Timm. I gotta say, Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, all the people that worked on the show and everything. The voice actors are good, but it's also the writers, the storytellers. They make it worth watching. But dude, all the shows that we listed, there could be like multitudes of freaking episodes. So many. We got a lot of ideas, but it's just that drug and nostalgia. Like, we have to keep on, just keep those shows alive in our heads and everything like that.
And show it to the next generations to show them what real script writing and acting is. Like that, those shows really hold up because of the stories that were told.
Yeah.
So, just to add and everything, I know we're kind of pushing that mark and everything. So, with all these popular TV shows, movies, and video games and all that, the four of us, hopefully this happens, and nothing happens along the way, but we're all planning a trip to Halloween Horror Nights, Disneyland. So, here's the bum ticker. We need to save up. Because Phoenix Fan Fusion Celebration Mad Monster just, drains us and all that. As soon as Mad Monster ended, not too far off, the Tuesday of, here comes all these pre-orders of something we just wanted. And it's like
the universe just knows we're trying to save up or something.
Yeah, look, we love Zia, we love Half Price Bookstore, we love Bookman's and all that, but it's just like, there's this kind of like, not a bet, but it's just this test of willpower and saving and all that, like, if your ass doesn't have this X amount of money, what the hell did you do and all that, so, and I know gas is like uber expensive out there, so...
And out of the four of us, I'm the one who gets the smallest paycheck, so it's really struggling for me.
So get a better job then. No, sorry, Charles.
No, it's fine. Just watching you guys go on and on about the television shows, and I just wanted to throw in a last few shows as well before we wrap this episode up. Inspector Gadget.
Oh my god!
I was familiar with it, never watched it.
You never?
Not the Matthew.
No, the cartoon.
I never watched
the cartoon.
The show. I was a little familiar with it.
Next time, Gadget.
Next time. Yep. And then there's one. I don't know if you guys heard this. I think I've mentioned it before, but Megas XLR. That was another one. Oh yeah, see, you guys haven't seen that. It was so. It's so freaking good. Basically, it was. Yeah.
I remember
this. Yes. The extra large robot with a car as a head. Yes, because
Big Guy and Rusty.
Yes, Big Guy and Rusty. That was another good one. And then one last one that I want to end with was this was one that I think really cemented my love of wanting to go into engineering was BattleBots. Yes. Oh my gosh, there are so many awesome episodes. I'll have to show you some.
You gotta remember, I'm the baby of the group.
Well, yes, but they actually have brought it back.
You just remind me of one of my favorite shows too, Cubics.
Oh, Cubics, yes, the one with that cube robot guy. Yeah,
the robot that just basically assembles himself out of blocks.
Yes. Ah, man, so many things. Cool. And then I also know that Robot Wars is also the UK version of basically BattleBots. I'll have to show you some of those, Danny, because there's some good stuff out there. But anyway, I think we have gone on plenty long enough. I hope you all enjoyed this trip down memory lane with us. So, thank you all for joining us here at the Petty Cash Podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and I just also wanted to say a thank you to everyone that has been coming up to us and saying, hey, yeah, we really enjoy the podcast. Thanks again for tuning in. Just continue sharing, getting the word of the Petty Cash Podcast out there. So, I have been Charles.
This is Danny.
This is Joe.
And Vinny.
And remember, slow down, chew your food.